I just wanted to reflect on the whole issue of the tipping point. I don't know whether many of you have read Malcolm Gladwell's book, The Tipping Point, who wrote about 2000. And the tipping point is essentially, why is it that some things become a social epidemic? Why do some things take off when they've been bubbling below the surface for years as a social movement or a cause or something that needs to be fixed in society, and then suddenly you just get this tipping point and what was on the fringes suddenly becomes the mainstream. And I'd like to think that what Siblings Australia is doing is just that, because I don't think that governments at a state and federal level have quite got it yet, the importance of what you're trying to do. The importance of giving support to siblings who've got a sibling with disabilities or special needs, to give them that support. And I was having a discussion with Kate and Nance and John Giordini briefly, and it seems to me that the government needs to be given the evidence. The Rudd government says they need an evidence-based approach to things, which I think is actually quite a good thing. And maybe even if there was a pilot study, some research done into the levels of whether it's depression or other stressors for siblings who are struggling with the weight of having to assist a sibling with disabilities, that could be a first step in terms of getting the message across, but also a whole of government approach. And I've undertaken to take a resolution back to raise it in the Senate, although not this week because I think it'll be lost. There's a little thing called the emissions trading scheme that may or may not get through. And I just think it's a question of being absolutely persistent on this, and whether you attach yourselves to existing organisations such as Beyond Blue, I think that's one of the suggestions, I think that's great, but also for this to be separately acknowledged. So I'd like to think that with what you've done at this conference, with the resolution, with the hard work that's been done over many years, you're actually getting to that tipping point very quickly. Because I think the problem with politicians is that they only see a problem, they only deal with something when it becomes all too apparent. And I was reading something by Lord Anthony Giddens in relation called the Giddens paradox, who's a British lord, who talked about, in the context of climate change, why is it that politicians won't do anything about a problem until it's almost too late to tackle the problem? And I think there are some parallels with Siblings Australia, in the sense that with this particular issue, people push it away to one side, and I think it's much better to have a fence at the top of a cliff rather than the best equipped ambulance at its base. And I think that's the philosophy that needs to be pushed forward. So I'm looking forward to working with Siblings Australia to advocate for change. I think if you've got a good cause and something that's important and something that impacts on what, at least 250,000 people, possibly more, close to what, 500,000 around the country, then this is a major social issue that needs to be brought to the surface, and it needs significant action at a state and federal level, and I'm really looking forward to working with you on that. But just let me get some sleep first.
Me too.
You too, everyone here. So I reckon I've said enough, and I'm happy to take any comments, and although I think some people have got flights to catch and to get out of here, and kids to pick up as well. So thanks for your time.